Here's a situation most professionals have been in more times than they'd admit. You've got a meeting in 45 minutes. You haven't had time to prepare. You don't fully understand the background. You're not sure what the other person wants out of it. And you can feel that slightly sick feeling that comes with knowing you're about to walk into something you're not ready for. This episode is about what I do in that situation now, and how Claude AI changed what not ready actually means. Before the products, 2 things worth having if you want to build the system this episode is built around. The brief, 1 page, free. Your first week with Claude AI at work, $20. Both links in the description. The old version of Not Ready looked like this. 45 minutes before the meeting, skim through some emails to try to piece together what happened. Pull up last month's notes and scan them. Try to remember what was discussed and what was decided. Think about what they probably want. Arrive at the meeting with a vague sense of the situation and hope it's enough. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. And the meetings where it wasn't are the ones you remember. The ones where someone asks a question you can't answer, or raises something you didn't know about, or assumes you followed up on something you forgot. The problem wasn't intelligence or capability. It was time. 45 minutes wasn't enough to do the kind of deep preparation that actually makes a difference. So most of the time, you didn't bother trying. You just showed up and winged it. Here's what not ready looks like now. 45 minutes before the meeting. Open Claude AI. Spend 10 minutes writing a brief that describes the meeting, the people in it, what I know about what they want, what I'm trying to achieve, and what I'm worried might come up. What comes back? A structured preparation that covers the background, the likely objectives on both sides, the 3 things I most need to land, the questions I'm probably going to be asked, and how to handle the tricky parts. 20 minutes to read it, think about it, and add my own judgment. 5 minutes to review the key points. Walk in prepared. Not perfectly prepared, but significantly more prepared than I would have been with 2 hours of old-fashioned prep. Because the 10 minutes I spent briefing Claude AI did the distillation work that used to take the full 2 hours. Here's why Claude AI is so useful for meeting preparations specifically. Most of the time, the hard part of preparing for a meeting isn't gathering information, it's processing it. You usually have access to the emails, the background, the previous conversations. What you don't have time to do is sit with it, think about what it means, anticipate what the other person is going to want, and structure a clear approach. Claude AI does that processing work in seconds. You give it the situation, the people, the history, the objective, the tension, and it produces a structured analysis that would have taken you an hour to develop yourself. The brief you write becomes the preparation. The 10 minutes you spend describing the situation forces you to crystallize what you know, and what comes back gives you the structure to walk in with. Part 1. The brief that does the preparation. What to include and why each element matters. A strong meeting preparation brief covers 5 things. Here's the template I use. 1. The meeting. What type of meeting is it? What's it nominally about? Is it a regular check-in, a decision meeting, a difficult conversation, a negotiation, a performance review? The category matters because it shapes everything about how Claude AI frames the preparation. 2. The people. Who's in the room? Their roles, their relationship to me, what I know about what they care about, what they tend to be concerned about, and what our history is. This is where specificity makes the biggest difference. My manager is not useful. My manager, she's commercially focused, has been under pressure from the board on costs this quarter, and she tends to push back on anything that isn't immediately tied to revenue is very useful. 3. The inputs. What information do you have internally? Anything that shapes the meeting, like budget, company figures, a performance review? This is where Claude AI needs to shine. Help you take the resources you already have and make sense of them. 4. The outputs. What does the meeting produce? Is it decisions, action points, updated figures? Will it define the next tasks we work on? Once I have the clear goal of the meeting, I can tailor everything to walk through it. 5. The outreach. Who needs to know about what happened? How might I need to communicate this? Do I need to report to the stakeholders, colleagues, my boss? This is where Claude can be the most helpful. Help you draft content you need for key audiences as soon as the meeting finishes. 3. The objective. What do I want to walk out of this meeting having achieved? Not what the meeting is called or what the agenda says. What does a good outcome actually look like for me? 4. What I'm worried about. The questions I'm not sure how to answer, the things that might come up that I don't want to get caught flat-footed by, the tensions I'm going to need to navigate. This is the element most people leave out, and it's the one that makes the preparation most useful. 5. What I need. Do I want an agenda, key talking points, the likely questions they'll ask and how to answer them, an opening statement, talking points for the tricky parts, all of the above? Be specific about what you actually need to walk in prepared. Here's the template exactly as I use it. I'm preparing for a meeting type with who's attending, their roles, what they want from this meeting, relevant history. My objective, what a good outcome looks like for me. Their likely position, what they're going to want, what they're worried about, what they're trying to achieve. The tricky parts, what I'm concerned about, questions I might not handle well, tensions I need to navigate. Help me prepare. What I need. Agenda, the 3 key points to land, likely questions and how to answer them, how to open, all of the above. That's it. Fill in the brackets honestly and completely, and what comes back is a structured preparation that takes 20 minutes to read and absorb rather than 2 hours to develop. Part 2. 4 real meeting types. 4 situations where this preparation changed the outcome. Meeting type 1. The difficult conversation you've been putting off. The scenario. I need to tell a long-standing client that we've under-delivered on something significant. The relationship is good, which makes it harder. There's more at stake. I know what happened. I know it was partly our fault. And I need to have a conversation that acknowledges that without completely conceding it and without damaging what's been a valuable relationship. The brief I wrote, preparing for a difficult conversation with a client I've worked with for 3 years. We missed a key deliverable by 2 weeks, partly because of a resourcing issue on our side and partly because of slow approvals on theirs. The client is commercially focused and has been under pressure from their own leadership to show results. I need to acknowledge the delay clearly, take appropriate responsibility without conceding what wasn't our fault, and rebuild confidence that we can deliver. I'm worried they'll try to negotiate a discount, and I'm not sure how to handle that if it comes up. Help me. How to open, the 3 things I need to land, how to handle the discount conversation if it comes up, and how to close on a forward-looking note. What came back? A complete framework for the conversation, including a specific opening that acknowledged the situation directly without leading with defensiveness. The 3 points structured in a sequence that moved from accountability to action to forward confidence, and 2 approaches to the discount question, depending on how directly they raised it. I walked into that conversation prepared for every direction it could go, including the direction it actually went, which I hadn't anticipated, and which the preparation had covered anyway. Meeting type 2, the stakeholder update where the news isn't great. The scenario, quarterly review with senior leadership. The quarter was mixed, some strong results, some things that missed. I need to present it in a way that's honest, without being demoralizing, confident without being defensive, and forward-focused without glossing over the problems. The brief, quarterly review with our executive team, CEO, CFO, and 2 non-executive directors. The quarter had 2 strong wins and 2 significant misses. The wins were ahead of target revenue and a new client signed. The misses were an operational efficiency project that stalled and a product launch that slipped. I need to present this in a way that's completely honest. They'll know if I'm spinning it, but frames it as a strong foundation rather than a weak quarter. I'm worried the CFO will push hard on the efficiency project because it was supposed to generate savings this year. Help me structure for the presentation, how to frame each win and each miss, how to handle the CFO's likely questions on the efficiency project, and how to close on a confident, forward-looking statement. What came back? A presentation structure that opened with the overall framing before going into detail. Specific language for each win and each miss that was honest but constructive. 3 prepared responses to the likely CFO questions at different levels of pressure. And a close that committed to specific outcomes rather than vague optimism. The meeting went well. Not because the news was good, because the preparation made me fluent in the material, rather than scrambling to frame things on the fly. Meeting type 3, the job interview or promotion conversation. The scenario, internal promotion interview. I know the panel, I know roughly what they're looking for, and I have a strong case, but I'm not good at selling myself, and I tend to undersell in pressure situations. I need preparation that helps me make the case clearly and confidently, and handles the questions I find hardest. The brief. I'm preparing for an internal promotion interview for a senior manager role. The panel is 3 people. My direct manager, who is supportive, the head of the division who doesn't know my work well, and an HR representative. The role requires strong stakeholder management, the ability to handle complexity, and commercial awareness. My strongest evidence is the client retention project I led last year, 40% improvement, and a cross-functional initiative that came in under budget. I struggle to talk about myself confidently under pressure. I'm most worried about the question, why do you think you're ready for this level? Because I find it hard to answer without sounding arrogant. Help me. The 3 strongest points to make about my candidacy. How to open my first answer to set the right tone. How to answer, why are you ready for this? And how to handle questions about the areas where I have less experience. What came back? Framing that positioned the promotion as a natural next step rather than a reach. An opening that established credibility without self-promotion. A specific structured answer to the why are you ready question that I could make my own. And approaches to the experience gaps that acknowledge them while redirecting to strengths. This one is the most personal example I can give. The preparation didn't change who I was in that room. It gave me the words for things I believed but couldn't articulate under pressure. Meeting type 4, the one where you genuinely don't know enough about the topic. The scenario, you're covering for a colleague and stepping into a meeting about a project you're not closely involved in. You have the briefing documents, you've skim-read them, but you don't have the depth you'd normally have going into a meeting like this. The brief. I'm covering for a colleague in a meeting about a data infrastructure project I'm not closely involved in. I've read the last update, which says the project is 6 weeks behind schedule because of an unexpected dependency on the legacy system migration. Attending, the project lead, 2 technical leads, and a senior stakeholder from the business side. I need to chair the meeting, not be the expert. I need to ask the right questions, understand what decisions need to be made, and not expose that I don't have full context. Help me. 5 intelligent questions to ask that will surface the key issues without requiring me to know the technical detail. How to open the meeting in a way that positions my role correctly, and what decisions I should be steering toward by the end. This is the use case that surprises people the most. Claude AI doesn't just help you prepare what to say, it helps you prepare what to ask. And asking the right questions is almost always more valuable than having the right answers. Across all 4 of those scenarios, there's one thing that made the preparation actually useful rather than generic: the tricky parts. Every brief I showed you included something I was worried about, something I wasn't sure how to handle, something that might come up and derail the meeting if I wasn't ready for it. That element, the honest articulation of what I was scared of, is what turns a generic meeting preparation into something specific and useful. Because Claude AI can't prepare you for the hard parts if you don't tell it what they are. Most people, when they brief Claude AI for a meeting, describe what the meeting is and what they want to achieve. They leave out what they're worried about. And the preparation they get back is fine for the easy parts and completely silent on the parts that actually matter. Name the hard thing. Put it in the brief. That's the single most important instruction in this episode. Part 3, making this a system, not a one-off. The preparation I've described is useful as a one-off. It's powerful as a habit. Here's how I've built it into a system, rather than something I do when I remember to. First, the template lives somewhere I'll actually use it, not in a document I have to go looking for. On my phone, in my most used Notes app, permanently pinned. When I check my calendar in the morning and see a meeting I'm not ready for, the template is one tap away. Second, I brief before I read. The temptation when you're underprepared is to spend your limited time reading background material. But reading without a framework for what you're looking for is slow and often doesn't produce the clarity you need. I brief Claude AI first, even if I'm missing context, and then use what comes back to tell me what I actually need to go and find. Third, I save the preparation. After the meeting, I keep a brief note of what worked and what didn't. Over time, this improves the quality of the briefs I write, because I start to see patterns in what information matters most for which type of meeting. Fourth, I use co-work for recurring relationships. If I meet regularly with the same people, a client, my manager, a key stakeholder, I have a co-work project for that relationship. Every meeting preparation brief for that relationship goes into that project, so Claude AI already knows the history, the dynamics, and what's been discussed before. By the third or fourth meeting, the preparation takes 5 minutes instead of 10. That last point is worth expanding on. Co-work, Claude AI's dedicated project workspace, is where this preparation habit becomes dramatically more powerful for ongoing relationships. The first time you prepare for a meeting with someone, you write a full brief: who they are, what the history is, what they care about. That takes 10 minutes. The second time, you're in a co-work project that already holds all of that. Your brief focuses on what's new, what's happened since the last meeting, what you want from this one, what you're worried about. That takes 5 minutes. By the sixth meeting, the project holds a running history of every conversation you've had with this person. Claude AI knows the dynamics, the recurring tensions, the things that have come up before. Your brief is 2 or 3 sentences, and what comes back is preparation that's calibrated to a relationship it already understands. That's not a marginal improvement. That's a fundamentally different level of relationship intelligence that most professionals never have access to, because it requires the kind of systematic record keeping that nobody has time to do manually. One more thing. The meeting you most need to prepare for isn't always the most important one on your calendar. It's often the one you've been dreading, the one you've been putting off thinking about because you're not sure how it's going to go. The difficult performance conversation, the client who's unhappy, the senior stakeholder you haven't met before, the negotiation where the stakes are high and the other side has more information than you. Those are the meetings where the preparation I've described makes the most difference, because those are the meetings where winging it costs the most. The meetings you're already confident about, you probably don't need the full preparation. You know the material, you know the people, you know what you want. But the meetings that make you anxious, the ones you hope will somehow be easier than you expect, those are exactly the ones to open Claude AI for. Here's your challenge for this episode. Look at your calendar for the next week. Find the meeting you're least prepared for, or the one you're most anxious about. Brief Claude AI for it using the template from this episode. Include the tricky parts. See what comes back. If the meeting is tomorrow, do it tonight. If it's in 3 days, do it the morning of. Either way, do it before you walk in, rather than hoping you'll be fine without it. Notice the difference between how you feel walking into that meeting and how you normally feel walking into a meeting you haven't prepared for. That difference is the value. Where this channel is going from here. The Workflow series starts next. Role-specific episodes that take everything covered across the main series and build it out for specific professional contexts. Project management first, then legal, operations, finance, marketing, and solo operators. And in the Start Here playlist, Co-work for Beginners is next. If you've been watching this channel but haven't set up a co-work project yet, that's the one to start with. Subscribe if you haven't. Tell me in the comments, what's the meeting you've been most dreading this week? That's the one to brief Claude AI for. Quick reference, the template and the one thing that matters most. The template, Meeting type, the people, your objective, what you're worried about, what you need. The one thing, name the tricky parts, the questions you're not sure how to answer, the tension you're going to need to navigate, the thing that might come up and catch you off guard. That's where the preparation earns its keep. 2 things in the description. The brief, 1 page, free. The meeting preparation template is in there alongside the 5 other task templates that cover the most common professional situations. Your first week with Claude AI at work, $20. Day 3 covers meeting preparation in detail alongside 4 other workflow templates. Day 4 shows you how to build the cowork system that makes recurring meeting prep take 5 minutes instead of 45. Both links in the description, via Claude for Lawyers on Gumroad. Same creator.